got to keep in mind that digital currency is not a digital asset or digital property.
Correct.
So the dollar could be a digital currency, and the Bolivar and the CNY can all be digital currencies. Ultimately, the question you got to ask yourself is, how much currency do I want to hold versus how much asset or how much property do I want to hold? And ultimately, you'd like to have 99% property, 1% currency. The Chinese will move CNY on digital rails, just like the USD will move on digital rails. The USD will spread to 6 billion people. The CNY will spread to 2 billion people, and everything else will be a derivative. And that's an almost certain thing that's going to happen. You're not going to want to hold either of those more than a month. You're going to want to use those for transactions, that are state sponsored or state endorsed. You're going to want to store all the rest of your money in a property or an asset which will hold its value. So digital currency from China.
Does it come down to, like Adam Smith would say, look, you have market forces or you have authoritarian forces, and the authoritarian forces always lose. The market force, let the market decide how much apples cost. Let the market decide how much I should pay you for that house. Is it come down that Bitcoin is free? It's unleashed on the word. It's a code. There's nobody controlling it, and hence the market will always. The free market will always be superior to a controlled market like the Chinese market.
I think it is true, the free market, the market will always defeat the controlled centralized system. I think you can see yin and yang here. It's not, the government of Canada is not going to end, and the government of the US is not going to end. As long as there's a Canada and a US and a China, there will be currencies. And you can't choose to completely reject the government in those places. In some countries, the government completely collapses. In parts of Africa, Afghanistan, to a certain degree, it collapses. But for the Western world, you don't have a full system collapse. You could argue, like, when you dollarize your economy, that's like a system collapse. But in the Western world, or even in China, you won't have a system collapse. You've just got yin and yang. You will have the choice. Do you want to have 100% of your money in the dollar and 0% in Bitcoin? Or do you want 100% in Bitcoin and 0% in the dollar? Or do you want 1% here and 99% there? And I think that you'll see the dollar strengthen and spread everywhere on the world. The Chinese are gonna block it, and there'll be 1.5 billion people that'll be behind the great firewall of China, and they'll use the Chinese technology stack. And if you're unwise, you'll store your life savings in currencies that lose their value. And if you're wise, you'll convert them to property, which is an investment. And if you're really wise, you'll find the best property.